What is up, guys, and welcome back to Flow State. This is episode 13 now, and it's a particularly special episode because so far this week, myself and Adam have done literally or next to no training, shall we say. I actually thought up a really nice intro where I was going to say like no Strava segments were logged, no runs were had, but I actually went and broke that today by doing a little post-marathon recovery run. I am indeed talking about the fact that we are coming off the back of both of our marathons last Sunday. You'll be seeing this on Wednesday, but obviously we're recording on Friday. So we're 4 and I'm 5 now, 5 days post-marathon. Adam's basically 4 and a bit, unless I'm 4 and a bit. So we're kind of well into that recovery week. And look, before we start getting into our kind of marathon recaps, as always, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who not only has obviously spent the time in listening to the podcast, but both myself and Adam have had some like really lovely comments off the back of our marathons, and it really does mean the world, whether it's a comment on an Instagram post or a personal message. Like, it really does mean the world. So thank you so much to everyone for that. But look, just as Adam's taking a swig of his drink, I'm going to put him under the pump. And look, why don't let's not recap the week. I reckon we should maybe talk about the week after, and let's just hear about the marathon, man. What, like, start from the top, pick up where we left off from last Friday when we last spoke.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Taking a swig of my drink. I've been taking a swig of a few pints this week.
Yeah, nice.
I've had a few messages to say Adam's off the rails, but no, I've been enjoying a beer or two this week. Nothing crazy, 1 or 2 each night. And I've just been popping up a little photograph of it for a bit of fun. So yeah, I'm off the beer this morning. I'm on the juice. Not the juice that we talk about in the world of endurance.
Yeah.
Oh man,
The good
this
kind.
has got off that good. Yeah, this has got off that good start. Yeah, I'm not on the juice. So
Certainly on Guinness right now, mate.
yeah, mate, we've had a few pints this week. It's been lovely just to rest and just to. I'm not a big drinker, as you know, but just to have a beer or a couple every night and just celebrate the training block and the run on Sunday and just relax. So that's been lovely. But yeah, I just want to congratulate you, mate, on we've already been messaging, as you know, but just to congratulate you on your first marathon. It's an incredible achievement, mate, to run a marathon and to do what you did. Is nothing short of what you deserve, but as we know, you don't always get what you deserve in the marathon, and that's what makes it so special. But yeah, mate, what you did was incredible on Sunday, so huge well done. And lots of my own friends have dropped me a message to wish you a big well done. So yeah, massive congrats.
That means
mate.
the world. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no bother. Yeah, we want to recap, I guess, the marathons and everything else. I mean, our marathon journey started with a little bit of drama. We flew to London on Friday morning and got to the airport and basically were told that our flight was overbooked. So me and Kira were the two people put on this standby kind of mode. So we got these tickets that didn't I didn't even tell you this.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah. So we knew our trip to Boston just went far too smoothly for our trip to London to go just as smoothly. But anyways, we got to the gate. Basically, we're told that if 2 people don't show up, we're on the flight. Even though I had this flight booked for months, I've never experienced worse service than the 2 ladies who were boarding us at the gate, but that's a story for another day.
Was this Ryanair by any chance?
It was EasyJet, so yeah,
Ooh,
pretty much
close. Yeah, close.
Yeah. Anyways, when you book a flight, like when you accept the terms and conditions, this is what you're accepting, and we accept that, and we understand that. But I've never experienced worse service than the ladies that were boarding the plane. It was like they were so abrasive, so rude to everyone that was coming down those steps to board the plane. Anyway, that's a story for another day. I don't want to go into that and tarnish anyone's reputation, but we basically couldn't believe the way we were being spoken to for something that was just like, we were just standing there as people trying to get on the plane. Anyway, what ended up happening was everyone had boarded the plane. They told us that there was 2 seats for us. We were like, happy days, getting on the plane. basically ready to go. And the next thing, this lady comes down the stairs with a police officer. And the police officer says, "Can this lady get on the flight?" She was with me. The two women who were boarding the plane, like who work for, I think it's Swissport or something like that, they were they were like, "No, she can't. We did the final call. We closed the gate. You shouldn't have opened that door." And they said no. And with me and Kira were just standing there silent. And the police officer basically said, like, "Please, she was with me. Um, I'm so sorry." And 2 minutes later, she started to onboard either me or Kira and board this lady. So she did that, told the lady to get on the plane. This took like 5 minutes. Me and Kira's just standing in confusion. And she then turns around to us and says, "Yeah, we're going to get you on another flight." And so we were like, "What?" Kira said, "Look, Adam, get you into London. There's a seat on the plane." The lady who was boarding was a bit she was a bit kind of taken aback when she realized we were going to separate, but we were like, "Look, we need to get to London." So I went on, got on the plane. I was that guy walking up the middle aisle while everyone was sitting ready to rock, and got on the plane. Kira was left in the airport. Essentially, it's as well that I did go because EasyJet couldn't get Kira on another flight to London on Friday. So
Shit.
yeah, I ended up booking. I touched down in London. Was on the train from Gatwick into the city to go to the expo, and Kira still hadn't been sorted at the airport. So I booked Kira another flight from Belfast City Airport, which is actually a different airport, into London. She got her mum to come pick her up from the airport to bring her to the other Belfast airport, about 20, 30 minutes away, and get the 2 p.m. flight from Belfast City into London. So that was the drama that started. We're sort of in trying to get the compensation sorted from EasyJet, which isn't easy
For
either.
sure.
Um,
Yeah, no.
all of this stuff. So that was the first drama. I had basically got to London, got from Gatwick to the expo, got my race pack, travelled from the expo to Brixton or close to Brixton where we were staying in South London, went for a 4 mile easy jog, took a nap, and then Kira arrived. Then Kira finally arrived. So she made the joke that it took her longer to get to London than it did to get all the way to Boston the week before. So that was how our weekend kicked off, mate, before the race. But yeah, we just tried to take it in our stride, not let it get under our skin. I was in London, I'd got the race pack. That was kind of the main thing. And Kira, it was just as well that we were flying early. You know, we weren't trying to fly out on Saturday morning or late Friday evening or anything like that. So we had a little bit of time to play with, and thankfully there was those other flights with, like, she ended up flying with British Airways,
Mm,
and got into
even better.
London. So yeah, I knew you'd say that.
What I will say though, just quickly, is Kira, my word, I know you're maybe obviously not listening to us right now, but you'll listen to the recording. I just want to say what a good sport, and like shout out to you, Kira, for putting in a big shift and getting to London. Like
100%.
that's support right there. That's what that is.
100%. So that was the Friday, and that was the kind of the initial drama. But thankfully, the rest of the weekend went pretty much to plan, and yeah, everything went swimmingly. So I suppose I'll just start to recap the day of the race and the race itself. I mean,
Nothing
Saturday we
happened Saturday. Yeah,
nah, mate, we just we chilled out. I was horizontal for most of the day.
nice.
We literally got out for a cup of coffee in the morning and walked to the shops and got just a few groceries, but nothing else. I literally just chilled out and done nothing. And I kind of purposely booked an accommodation out of the city, so there wasn't any of that mental stress or the temptation to go and like walk around and do anything. It was
Mm,
just a day spent relaxing mentally and physically, so that was great. Um, Huge carb load. I had a lot of rice, a couple of hot cross buns,
mm,
a bagel or two. Yeah, just big feeds of carbohydrates, and that all
yeah.
sat really nicely. And I was really sort of happy with how that went. And then again, I didn't measure anything. I just sort of had to feel and just made sure I was getting loads of carbs in at every time I ate, but nothing happened. Sunday morning, then up at about 6:15, straight into the breakfast, which I had big bowl of porridge with some honey. I had the beetroot shot, small glass of orange juice, and the Morton caffeine drink, which I prepped. And then we basically got the train to Greenwich or Blackheath, which is such a lovely little area of London where the start is. It's class. It's like
I
everyone just
did work
arriving.
there.
Yeah, it's a lovely wee place. I'd love to go and stay there sometime.
Man, if it
Um,
like would have to tee it up because obviously I no longer live um in London, but man, I spent a lot of time in Greenwich, like probably a year and a half when I worked there. And if you ever need like if you're ever going, I can give you some recommendations because it really is a beautiful part of the world, Greenwich.
yeah, I'd definitely like to go there and just stay for a few days because
Mm.
it gives you that nice yeah, it's a nice place. So got there, actually met Ronan, one of the lads that I coach, and a really good friend here from Lurgan. Met him just when we not on purpose, but we met him just when we got off the train, and met a couple of other club mates as well, Ethan and Kate and David, and that just kind of set the tone nicely. It just relaxed everyone a little bit, and we made our way to that championship start together. The morning was really like misty, and we knew the temperatures were going to be getting warmer, but it was a real kind of like you could just feel the atmosphere building. The mist was in the air, and it was special. So got our way into the championship start, which is lovely because you've got a lot of space in there. It's not overcrowded. You can just chill out on the grass. You can use the bathrooms. It's just a nice, relaxed place to be. And then we met up with the Roadrunners crew and a couple of the others that we've been spending a lot of time with training on Sundays, who were all in the championship start as well. And that just again like that just set the tone for the race itself. It just made me feel relaxed and safe, and it was just a lovely atmosphere, lovely energy around. Everyone knew what was coming, but we were all ready to go, and that was nice. So it was getting warmer. I'd brought a little jacket from a race that I'd done a couple of years ago to wear to the start line to stay warm, and like that was taken off me 45 minutes before the race because it really was starting to get warm. So I was just in my vest from that time, and the mist was clearing, the sun was coming out. You could tell it was going to be a warm day, and at that point I kind of just reminded myself, like, you've got two goals here today. Number one, enjoy this because it's London Marathon and people would absolutely kill to be here. And two, run a race that you can be proud of. Like, you can run the race that you're proud of in these conditions. You can have a day that you can finish up and say, I'm so proud of what I did today. So that was my two goals, and I I carried that with me throughout the full race. Like, I reminded myself of that a couple of times through the race, and that really did. I think that just again just set the tone for what I wanted to do. So I'd planned to go out with Paddy and Gary, a couple of the lads that I've trained with, and the plan was to go through halfway. Paddy had texted me the night before and asked what the plans were, and I'd sort of said, yeah, planning to probably go through in about 74:30 to 75 minutes, in and around that sort of pace, and just conserve energy early because the first few miles of London is slightly downhill. And someone said to me, I heard someone say, and I can't remember who it was, but in the early stages of the race, someone said, like, focus on this section of the race and bank energy, not time. And I thought that's a really good way to think about this. Try to bank energy. So we got off the start, which was just unbelievable. Like, we had all the elites warming up beside us, Kipchoge and all the guys that you kind of look up to, Phil Sessamon and all the elite marathon runners of the world. That was class. The gun goes, and it's such a feeling. Thousands of runners taking off the start line. You're on the BBC. The helicopters are in the sky, and I purposely just made the effort just calm my nervous system down a bit. Just, this is a marathon here. Let's not get carried away into the occasion and the race, and just settle into the rhythm. So we did just that. Myself, Paddy, and Gary kind of kept each other in check. This is the pace we need to be running. Let's not try to go past people. There's no need. Let's just conserve energy here and not bank time. So that was the kind of the initial few miles, and I felt okay. I didn't feel amazing. I felt in control. And just like I say, okay, I didn't feel out of this world. But I accepted that. I didn't let that panic me. I didn't think, yeah, this isn't my day because of that. I would say mentally I was in a really nice, calm place. And um, I know that when I ran Melbourne in 2008, 2019, I didn't feel great in the early stages. Like, my legs didn't feel light. I didn't feel, you know, amazing, and that was fine. I ran a great race. And London on Sunday was pretty similar. I felt composed, um, and I just knew that it was going to be a long way, and there's going to be periods of this race where you feel good. There's going to be periods where you don't feel so good, and yeah, I was just mentally ready for that. So the atmosphere, mate, was just something else. Like, I think because of the weather, it brought the crowds out. Do you know? I think
100%.
there was over 1 million people on the streets of London watching on Sunday, and you could just feel the buzz and the energy everywhere you went. It's almost a shame that you're running because you almost want to just stop and take it in at some points. You know, you just want to be like, can I just like snapshot this moment and just experience it for a few minutes as opposed to a few seconds? Because yeah, Cuddy Sark was something else. Like, just that period of the course where it kind of chicanes around a few little curves, and like the buildings are quite you're not in like concrete jungle at that stage. You know, the buildings are quite close to the road, and the crowd's really close to the road on both sides, but it's also like 10, 15 people deep. People are standing up on like, you know, lampposts and post boxes and trying to get you. It's just amazing. So I said to the lads at about 5 miles, we're coming up on Cuddy Sark here. I made the mistake in 22 of kind of surging through here because I seen my family, adrenaline
Mm.
just shot through my body, and I remember just surging and being like, whoa, I need to put the brakes on. So I was like, let's just be careful with that. And then, of course, I see my family on the left hand side of the road and do the exact same thing. So, yeah, I was like, I didn't mean to, mate. It was just the adrenaline hit. And yeah, for about 5 or 6 seconds, I surged and was like, whoa, like I need
Yeah.
to relax here because, and there's a funny video of Gary kind of tapping Paddy when I surge and being like, what's he doing? Do you know? So,
Someone grab
um,
his shirt, bring him back, bro, because he's going too
exactly.
quick.
Exactly. And then you can kind of see me like turn around and sort of say like, yeah, I just did what I told you guys to be careful of, but settle back into the rhythm, and just, yeah, kept it all under wraps, and knew what my race plan was and how I wanted, more importantly, how I wanted to feel, um, particularly between halfway and 30K. But yeah, sort of got over Tower Bridge, which again is just this experience that is unbelievable. I can't even explain how good Tower Bridge is. When you come around the corner and you can see Tower Bridge up ahead, it's like a scene from a movie set, is the way I would
Mm.
just explain it. And then I was just saying to myself, like, take all of this in. You know, you're running here with two of the lads that you've spent months training with, and you're running over Tower Bridge. You're in London Marathon. I was just like, enjoy this and take this in, and I did that. I just felt like I absorbed every bit of it, and distinctly remember feeling better over Tower Bridge than I did in 22, because that was a point in the race where I knew for a fact I was just working a little bit too hard, and I
How
felt
far in are
better.
we at Tower
This
Bridge?
is this is 12 miles, so yeah, still pretty early. But
Yeah.
like London, that marathon is like, you hardly get the opportunity to sometimes think about where you are in the race because there is so
Mhm.
much external stuff happening.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's point to point. So it's like you kind of lose track of distance because it's just, oh, look, there's another thing. It's another thing. I've not seen
you
this. I've
do.
not seen this.
You kind of treat, for me anyway, I kind of treat the course as like landmarks. Do you know? Cuddy Sark 6 miles, Tower Bridge is 12 miles just before halfway, 12 and a half miles by the time you're over it. And then you sort of Canary Wharf. And then it's like embankment, and you're kind of thinking, okay, embankment, Big Ben, final mile. That's kind of the way I kind of break the course up into my head. So I was kind of thinking, okay, like I had a strategy and how I wanted to feel at certain points. Particularly, like I just wanted to get halfway in the split that I'd planned, and then from halfway it was about feeling. So got over Tower Bridge, got through 13.1 miles halfway in, I think, 74:51. So I was like, yep, that's perfect. Felt nice and composed. And I remember how hard mile 13 to 18 was the last time. So my mantra, I guess, between 13 and 20 miles was just sit on the sofa. That's what I kept telling myself. It was like, sit on the sofa, just keep it under wraps. You want to get to 20 and 21 miles feeling like you've got something to give, because 10K is a long way in a marathon, as we've talked about on the podcast, you know. So that was just what I kept saying in my brain. It was stay composed, sit on the sofa to 20 miles, and just run smooth. And that's what I did. It's there was periods in that section, like I remember at 16, 17 mile really starting to feel heavy in my quads and starting to could just feel my mind start to be, that little bit of doubt creep in. But at the same time, I was very calm. I remember just telling myself that I've done the training, I'm tapered, I'm fueled up, like I'm fine. I was just like constantly telling myself I'm fine, and I was. Um, got through Canary Wharf. Really started to feel the legs go a little bit in at the back end of Canary Wharf. I remember feeling really heavy legged and going up like a little rise, like this hill up around a really quiet corner of the course where there's no spectators. There was like a construction site and there was like a wall, and I remember seeing that and going up around that corner and feeling really leggy and like just having no power in the legs. And I was like, is this the end of my race? And then just kind of settle back into my rhythm. If you look at my Strava, there's a really slow mile in Canary Wharf, but that's just the GPS. The GPS kind of goes haywire in Canary Wharf, and that's why when I go through there, I don't even look at pace. I just run. I probably ran like a 5:40, but I think Strava says like a 6:20 or something like that. But it's just the GPS. So that was up to about mile 20, and then the cramp started to hit. So I put a video up on Instagram of me taking my glasses off and saying hello to Kira. About half a mile after that, I started to get the twitches in the calves and the hamstrings.
You got a little bit
These are,
too overconfident, because I've seen that is, I actually love that video. I was saying you got a snapshot of that. I was like, that should be put in the Louvre or something,
yeah,
because that is just like, it looks like you're coming across the line pretty much,
yeah,
because you're
I
just
love
like
that
so
one.
confident, so good.
Yeah, and that was mate. That was it, mate. I was just enjoying it. Like I was enjoying myself, and even when the pain came, I was telling myself to enjoy this. This is what I've trained for. This is what I love to do. I love running. I love the marathon. That I just kept saying, like, just keep enjoying this, and that's exactly what I was doing. I don't have any idea why I took my sunglasses off. That wasn't planned. Um, that was just a spur of the moment thing. I did it twice, 6 mile and 19 miles. When I seen Kira and my family. So that was kind of up to 20 miles. I started to really feel the twitches in the calves and the hamstrings, and I would say I was on the knife edge of cramp. I had really had to manage the body for about 6K, whereby had I have taken too big a stride, or had I have just put in too much like power through the ground, I would have cramped and I would have been forced to walk, and that's what destroyed my race in 2022. And I was like, I am so determined to make this a race that I'm proud of, and that means not walking. That means managing my body in a way that allows me to run from here to the finish. So that was what I kept in my brain: just manage this and get through it, and hopefully it'll dissipate and go away. And if not, I just have to manage this for the next 5 or 6 miles.
Were you taking
So
any fluids in, or was it just gels?
yeah, mate, I was taking water on board at every water station from the start, because of the heat. It was warm, and like it was carnage out there. There was people stopping. There was people pulled up on the side of the road. There was, yeah, every single shower. There was like water showers on the road, and they were brilliant. They were actually quite cool, which was lovely, because when you went through those, you really got that you got absolutely drenched, but you really did get like a refresher, where you just got, yeah, the cold water over you, and it was lovely. And then the water stations, there was 250 ml bottles. I was basically taking one, pouring about half of it around myself, like around the back of the neck, over my head, onto my wrists, even at times onto the backs of my legs, just to try to stay cool. And then I was getting a little bit in as well. I was taking just as much as I sort of felt like I wanted. Later in the race, when the stomach started to sort of get a bit dodgy, I was just like rinsing it around my mouth, um, and just trying to stay as comfortable as I could. So water was taken on at every station, so probably 8 or 9 times, which is much more than I usually would.
Mhm.
So that was kind of mile 20, 21, 22, managing the cramp. Feeling like my energy was pretty good, but just really having to manage this cramp. That was what was going to cause me to slow down, not fuel, not stomach. Um, not energy. It was the cramp that was starting to come on. So mile 23, it started to dissipate a little bit, and I was like, yes, like this is starting to go away. I can run nearly properly again. And it was just then like, okay, let's race to the finish. So I remember coming through an underpass, with about 4 miles to go, that brings you onto the embankment kind of. And that's when you're basically running for Big Ben at that stage. You know, it's a straight road to Big Ben. So it was like at that point, right, get to Big Ben as fast as you can. And I started to feel like I was racing. I was going past a lot of people, um, and just reeling off one after one and thinking, yep, like this is what I wanted to do here. I wanted to get to this point of the race and be able to do what I'm doing. And I was just delighted. Even though I was really suffering, I was so pleased with how things were going. And I'd flick my watch from about 25k. Obviously, you know that I don't do the auto lap on the watch. Like my watch doesn't beep for each mile. I was taking manual splits each 5k to make sure I was around target pace. But from 25k, I wasn't taking anything because I went through that real rough period. So I didn't take any splits. It was just like I now know where the effort needs to be. I know how hard I can run. And it's just a case of like running this marathon to the finish and trying to finish as quickly as possible on a day that's hot. And I'd flick the watch through Canary Wharf, like I say, to just the timer. So all I could see on my screen was 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours, 50 minutes, so on and so forth. So was on that embankment, was going past people and past like the 24-mile marker. I was like, oh my God, like I think I might be able to run under 2:30 here today. Do you know? And really with the conditions, like I sort of had accepted through sort of that 25, 30k mark that I was probably slowing a bit, that 2:30 wasn't on the cards, but it was a case of, right, you can still run a personal best and you can still run a race that you're really proud of. And I remember thinking like this could be on here. So it was just, I didn't do anything else. I was just like, just keep doing what you're doing. You're running as hard as you can possibly run. You're passing people. And it was like, get to Big Ben. So finally got to Big Ben and realized kind of when you come around the corner at Big Ben to the right and it goes down a very sort of gradual little slope on the road. It's a lovely part of the course, but then it turns onto Birdcage Walk. And Birdcage Walk is actually one of my least favourite parts of the course because at that point there's not many runners around you. And it gets a little bit quiet. It's covered by trees. So you kind of, all of a sudden it goes from really bright in the sun to like quite dark. And you're still a mile to run. And I was kind of thinking Big Ben's the finish, even though it's not. You've still got a mile. And I was like, oh my God, like this is a long way, do you know, because you know where the corner is that turns for the finish. And I couldn't even see that corner. So you can kind of, you know in your head it's a way off and you know physically you can't see the finish. And like I say, it gets a bit quieter there. There's people lining the roads, but not as many, and they're also not as loud as the crowds in the course. So yeah, it kind of gets a bit flat at that stage, and you're just in a world of like you're kind of a bit delirious. So ran through there again, was just continuing to pass runners and was just like get to the corner where you know it says like 385 yards to go, and I was just clipping along, giving it everything I could give. I was there's a few really good pictures of me and you can just see the effort etched all over my face. You know, I've got this really ugly look on my face. But I'm so proud of it because I was working so hard. I was on my absolute limit and probably through what I thought was my limit. And I was fighting for every step and fighting for the line and racing, which was my goal. Like I wanted to race. I wanted to race the last 4 or 5 miles of the marathon, and I was doing that, and I was just so pleased. And yeah, I got to that corner, seen the finish line. I kind of knew at that stage I wasn't going to run under 2:30 because I glanced at the watch and had seen like, but before the corner I'd seen 2:29:45, and I was like, well, I know the finish is a lot more than 15 seconds away. So I was just like, I'm just going to enjoy this moment because I've had a race that I can be so proud of. And I still hadn't accepted at that point that I would even get to the finish line because I thought at any point cramp could come here. And I've seen runners hobble to the finish, and you know, in the last 400 meters they've taken 10 minutes to cover it because they can't move. So I still hadn't accepted that this was it, and I was going to run a personal best and I was going to be successful. So it was get to that finish line, and thankfully I managed to cross in 2:30 and 25. And yeah, again, there's a good video of me that I found on the photography company that do the photography for the race, of me coming across the line, and I've just got the clenched fists, you know, with delight. And yeah, it was a bit wobbly when I came over. Had definitely rinsed myself in the last couple of miles, but yeah, just was so proud straight away. That was the emotion. I was just so proud of my race, and just how I'd executed it. And I have to say, I said to you off camera, mate, it's overtaken Melbourne. I know there's a bit of bias there. It's that recency bias, but it's overtaken Melbourne as the race that I'm most proud of and the race that I've executed the best, and my best performance in the marathon because yeah, it was one of those days where I absolutely got the most out of myself, given the set of circumstances, given the temperatures. Anyone that ran London or was spectating in London knows how warm it was. Um, and especially given that we train all winter in the cold and then all of a sudden you get a hot day. It's not like you train all summer in decent temperatures and then it's a warm day on this. You know, we've trained all winter and like all of our long runs have been in 5-6 degrees
Mm.
temperatures, and then you get a day that heats up to 21 ish on during the race. So that takes its toll, and I'm so delighted with how I managed that. And a lot of runners came away disappointed on Sunday. And yeah, I was so pleased, as you can probably tell.
100%. And yeah, I think we were both pretty, I mean, just going in those back and forwards we had, I think it would have been Sunday afternoon, my time. And yes, I don't even know what time that would have been for you, but yeah, it was pretty magical. But a question that I don't think I've asked yet: what do you find the post marathon like? I know you said you're a bit wobbly coming off the line, but are you like completely fucked basically for like?
Not really. Like I actually felt okay. I think that's helped by the fact that you've had a decent race. Like I always find you're more fucked whenever you've really had to struggle. Like
Mm,
when you've really had to like fight to just get home and just to finish, I always think you're worse. I mean, my stomach is always absolutely destroyed after a race. Like I feel
mm,
so sick. So I felt really sick. Um, and that continued for like even going to bed on Sunday night, I felt sick. Um, so the stomach's never good, but I was so thirsty as well. My mouth just immediately went dry, and I think again it was due to the heat. Despite drinking throughout the race, I couldn't get enough water into me. Just to get rid of that like the dryness. It was unbelievable. I was wobbly when I crossed, like my legs were wobbly, and I was just like, yeah, I need to sit down. And then I sat down, and my hip flexors just completely cramped up, so I had to
just
stand up
locked,
again.
yeah, yeah,
And then, like, I met the lads and just the elation with the lads because some of them had good races as well, given the conditions that I trained with. In fact, most of them did. And to celebrate with them just at the line, and there's some great photographs of us with our medals as we came through the line, and just to quickly debrief with them. A couple of them just went straight to the side and vomited. It was like a war zone, but we were all so happy that we had finished the race and we were safe. Do you know that was kind of something that I felt as well? Is like all the lads are home, they're safe.
yeah, yeah.
Like there hasn't been any disasters on the course where someone's had to, be stretchered off or something like that. Because that was happening. Like I could see to my right, there was guys and girls being wheeled to the side on stretchers, like flat on their back with the oxygen mask over their face. So that's a sight that you don't love to see. And
Mm.
that was like I was relieved that was the case, and I was just, yeah, I can't even describe the emotions, like the emotions when you do something in sport that you've kind of set that you've set as a target. They're never what you think they're going to be. Like this sounds cheesy, but the joy is in the journey and like just the everyday, and that's why we do it because we love it so much. And like, um, but they're still amazing. Do you know it's still amazing. We got changed then. Took our time just to get changed on the mall and get out. Like my vest, my shorts, my socks was soaking wet. Like everything was like just it was rotten. So got changed. Made our way up the mall. It like the finish area of London Marathon's also lovely because you can kind of congregate with other runners. Like, you can see that everyone's just fucked, and it's kind of like that post. I compared London Marathon on Sunday to like going to a music festival. In the
Yeah,
morning, everyone's heading the one direction with all their kit. Everyone's like that kind of apprehensive. It's early morning. The carnage hasn't kicked off yet. Everyone's kind of excited, nervous, and everyone's going to the one location, and it's kind of on like it kind of looks like a festival scene because it's grass,
yeah. It's
and
just
there's
heads as well.
yeah.
Just a
So
sea of heads.
yeah, so it was like that, and then of course you have the event, the race, but then afterwards it's kind of like a music festival because it's carnage. Everybody's fucked. So
People vomiting left, right, and centre.
exactly, it's kind of like a music festival. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, we just got our stuff together. And I knew where Kira and my sister and mom and dad were going to be, so I just couldn't wait to see them. Like I just couldn't wait. And made our way up the mall. They were where I thought they were going to be and where they told me they were going to be. And yeah, just to see them and just to enjoy that moment with them was just unreal. Like the sun was shining at that stage. You were so glad it was sunny. It was just perfect, mate. Those moments are just moments that I'll remember forever and I'll cherish forever because, like I said in a social media post the day after, um, for me, the joy in all of this is sharing it with other people. Like my family at the finish line, the lads that I've trained with, just that for me is the thing that brings me the most joy in this sport. Obviously I absolutely love running. Like I love getting out my own and logging miles, and there is that kind of selfishness in running. Um, but the most joy comes from that shared experience, and I couldn't wait to stand on the start line with those lads, and it was just amazing to actually finish up with them as well, and just to share that moment afterwards, a debrief, just all of that stuff. It was really cool. So that was just amazing, mate. Just an absolutely magical day from start to finish, and yeah, I can't wait to do it all over again.
That's fantastic, and that's exactly it. It's like you kind of accept that eventually you're going to have, you're going to race again, and you're going to have bad races. But look, out there, there's probably still another one just like that, if not better. And I guess that's why, as runners that aren't professional, we're like, that's why we do this. There's no monetary incentive really. It's just you're kind of chasing that experience, and the only thing I'd like follow on is as much as it is about the process, and we love what we do, like that though these races, as someone who's only done a handful of races, like it's always the icing on the cherry, and it does just give you a feeling like nothing else. Like there's nothing else that has given me this kind of feeling
Yeah, and
afterwards.
I have to admit as well, over the last couple of years, post seizure and post pulmonary embolism and the health issues from 2023, like there was that element of me that said, like, can I get back to the level that I felt like I was at? Can I get back to that trajectory that I was on? And the doubts had crept in over the last year or two, just like I'm training here, but I'm just not. I'm kind of stuck. I was I ran 2:32 in 2022, and it was like, can I be that athlete again? Um, and I was on this plateau for quite a while, and that run on Sunday has shown me that I can continue to improve, and I've reached a new level, and it has given me a really nice confidence boost. Like my love for the sport and my love for getting out and logging miles, why I do it, that never changed, or that never faltered. But that little thing is like, is this my level? I've now I've gone down a new level, and mostly in my own head I've gone down a new level, which is the more important aspect here. And it's just given me the confidence that I can improve and
Mm.
I can really continue to improve. And I've thought about it over the last week. I kind of can see now a bit of a roadmap and where I want to go in this sport. Obviously, like sports full of ups and downs, and there will be blocks and challenges, and it's not a linear path. Like that path is like the path that I see, but it's not the path that I'll take. But
Mhm.
I can kind of see now where I want to take things in the sport. And yeah, that for me has also been part of this, why this experience has been so magical for me personally. Was has been just like, yeah, that kind of journey from 2023, when I did experience those health issues. It's kind of made it all the more special.
No, it's fantastic, and I just want to say I was absolutely rapt to see that result come through as well. I actually think that was Monday morning my time, so that would have been Sunday afternoon your time, and yeah, getting to kind of enjoy my result and then have you and like enjoy yours was yeah really was just a pretty unforgettable experience like this whole week has been. Um, but yeah, look, let's.
Let's
Oh,
hear
I
about
guess
Ballarat.
I know. I'm just thinking where I'll start. So,
Well, I just want to say before again,
mm,
sorry to interrupt you,
no,
Luke.
that's all right.
When I seen your result come through when I got up on Sunday morning, it was the first thing I checked. Um,
Mm.
was jumped on Strava, typed in your name, and was like, "What's he done?" And when I seen 2:57, I was just so happy and also pumped for myself. Like I was like, this is my fuel as well because Luke has nailed it, and I seen your splits and I was like, he nailed the marathon. He got the marathon right today. I was like, that's my goal, get the marathon right today. And I was just so happy
Mm.
for you. So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, I can't wait to hear about it, mate.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah, it was pretty. Everything went right, is what I'll kind of proceed things by saying. But look, I think to start off, it was a slightly different circumstance. Obviously, for those that know Ballarat, it's more of a kind of runners marathon, so it's less of a Melbourne or a London. It's a relatively small event, even though they're trying to build it up, and it's only the I think this is the second year of it so far, so it's relatively small. So essentially, we didn't have to worry about traveling. It's basically an hour from where we live. So the plan Saturday, I I don't think I was. Maybe this was naive of me, but I basically did everything I would normally do on a Saturday because we were at home, right? We had the little one. We went out to the shops. We did chores. I just wanted to keep myself as relaxed as possible. I was like, I'm just gonna do my what I do normally in the day. I'm not gonna like go out of my way to rest too much. I had like a little 3K shakeout in the morning, but aside from that, it was a pretty normal day. And I went with I did a 2 day carb load starting Friday morning, and it was basically just a shit ton of cornflakes. I know that pasta was a bit too heavy for me when I tried it a few weeks back, and bread is just a no go. I know it just kind of takes quite a long time to process, so I was like, I just need to stick with corn, anything corn cakes, corn flakes, and I even actually made Kenyan ugali out of corn maize, which
Nice.
really worked. I know it really worked for me as well. Just kind of yeah, sat really well. A little bit of rice as well, and that was it. So had a ton of that the day before. Then the morning of, so race start at Ballarat was 8, and we had to leave at about 6 to get there for 7. So I set my alarm for 4, which sounds early. That's only about half an hour, typically earlier than I normally get up. But because I was a little bit kind of nervous, excited, I ended up waking about quarter to 4. So it's about 3:45, which was fantastic. I was like, I felt good, had a good sleep, just kind of chilled out in the morning, like stayed off social media. I watched a little bit of YouTube, did some foam rolling, had breakfast, cornflakes, salt. That's an elite combo, by the way. Cornflakes and salt is outrageous. Um, and I,
Like pancakes and salt.
yeah, salt, man, just salt with anything sweet is a masterpiece. But yeah,
Absolutely.
that was actually not my plan, believe it or not, because I was going to go corn cakes, and I woke up. I was like, I fancy some cereal, so I did kind of deviate maybe a little bit. Again, naive of me, but it worked out fine. Then yeah, got to Ballarat about 7. It wasn't too hectic. I was really worried it's gonna be hard to get into a toilet and hard to warm up but it was not. It was just like really cruisy. The area we parked, there was toilets nearby. I did my warm up like super fine. Got into the toilet fine. And I about 45 minutes out, actually, I've been taking some Plasmade, which I'm not sure if you've heard of those before. They're like, I know Christian and Gustav take them pre-triathlon, and they've actually done some tests around them. And I think Christian responds really well to them, and Gustav is kind of like not much, but they're basically a really powerful nitric oxide booster, based off like French maritime pine bark extract or something. So
Right.
I had practiced these, so I was like, look, I'll take one about 45 minutes beforehand. They sit fine. They don't taste great, but it's just like a little sachet, probably about a big. Um,
Are they expensive, Luke?
yes, they are very expensive. I literally have like, I think 7 of them cost me about 30, $40. So I use them sparingly, and I won't use them again until I race again. Even though you can take them
What
chronically.
do they what do they actually do?
So you had the beetroot shot to increase nitric
Okay, so
oxide.
it's a nitrate.
It's a nitrate, yeah, yeah. So
Got
it's
you.
just it's meant to be a little bit more powerful, and it's meant to decrease inflammation at a cellular level. So, um, yeah, look, did it work? Who knows? I'm going to say yes, but yeah. So I popped one of those, and then my plan all along was to. So I was in the third corral back. So you had the elites at the front in corral A. B was I think 230 to 250, and then C was 250 to 3 hours. So I was in the third corral back. It was fine. I had my plan was always to take a gel at the start, and I'd managed to find some 160, some Morton 160. So I did have a little bit more than I was planning on. But again, I just kind of made that split decision in the moment. I was like, I've not had like a huge breakfast. It was a few hours ago. I'd rather be cautious and take a little bit more now. And then my plan all along was basically to follow the 3 hour pacer for at least kind of the halfway point to 25K. So the race basically starts with a 1K climb. It's not very aggressive, but it is a 1K hill. And then it's a loop. So it's a 21K loop times two. And I knew that, okay, so it's not just about getting to halfway, it's about getting past that second incline and then settling back down. And I actually spoke with the race organizer 2 weeks before when I collected my bib from Running Warehouse, one of the Running Warehouse stores. And he was like, look, if I was you, I'd probably get to 25K comfortably and then kind of assess if you want to like pull back, go harder or whatever. So I was like, okay, that was my rough plan. And so I went out, followed I was probably about 50 meters behind the three-hour pacer. And again, it's a first marathon. I kind of was like really worried about losing him. I was like, oh, there's a few people. It's really hard to see. I didn't have my glasses on. I don't have contact lenses. So my vision's not fantastic, but I was like, look, he's a bit ahead. It's fine. And I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, look, we're doing pretty well for pacing here. We were sitting about kind of between 4:15 and 4:10, with 4:15 being a 3 hour marathon. And similarly to you, I was kind of like, I don't really know how I should feel, but I didn't feel on top of the world, but then I didn't feel like I was pushing too hard. I was kind of just like, I feel fine. This is a pace I'm quite comfortable with. And I was just like, just settle into it, just settle into it. And we basically got to, so I guess the first issue of the day, and this is, I don't know if this is naive of me or silly of everyone else, but we were basically with the marathon and the half marathoners were all in one group, right? So we got to the 5K water table, and again, everyone, because I was sitting in the middle and it was actually quite congested. I was like trying not to trip up in front of with the guy in front of me. It was like being in a cycling peloton, like literally, you're just trying not to crash into everyone else. And then as soon as we got to that 5K drinks station, everyone, I'd say probably maybe 60% of the group decided to veer off to the left and get water. And I'm like, it's cold. It's probably about 10, 12 degrees. I get it. Some people want water. That's fine, whatever. But I just wasn't expecting so many people all at once to shift over. And it was carnage is maybe the wrong word, but it was definitely like people trying not to like trip
Stressful.
over each other. Yeah, it's stressful. And I'm just like, A, I'm trying not to slip over anyone, and B, like you're slowing everyone down. So that was frustrating, and that happened. I didn't even learn from my mistake because we got past 5K, and it happened again at 10K, and I was like, mate, you're an idiot. You need to get away from kind of the left to the middle and get over to the right so that these guys aren't gonna. But it was easier said than done. It was a lot of people. But then so again, side note, Ballarat, it is a 21K course, but it does go through this really nice park, Victoria Park, which is really like woody. And I was, to be honest with you, for that first kind of 15K, I literally was just enjoying the view. I got comfortable pretty quickly. I was probably comfortable outside of those water stations, just running my pace. I was like, this is fine. It's kind of hovering between 4:10 and 4:15. I had 5K splits on. I kind of just ended up ignoring them because I was looking at like just my watch every now and then, keeping an eye on the pacer. But I was literally just taking in the surroundings, like reminding myself, man, you're doing it. You're running your marathon. That's what you're here to do. Just finish this race. That was my kind of number one goal. It's just finish a marathon. You can say you've run a marathon, and that was that. But then come the third drinks table, 15K. I was basically like still pretty comfortable, and everyone again slowed up to get to the table. And I was like, look, at this point, I was actually next to the pacer, and he was like, "Oh, 15K drinks cable coming up. Um, yeah, just be ready." And I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna. I don't need drinks. I've got my gels. I'm popping a gel every 5K." This guy, it felt a little bit slow, and I was like, I think I can just kind of push ahead a little bit because there's a pack going just in front of the 3 hour group. I think I can just like follow them because they were running a bit closer to 4:10 as opposed to 4:15. And I did, and long story short, that is the last I saw of the 3 hour pacer, fortunately. Um, but it did mean from this point on, it did start to get a little bit, I guess, lonely because from 15K till the end of the first half, you end up going around Lake Wendouree, I think it's called. And that's when the wind hits, because
Yeah, I
it
heard.
wasn't a particularly, it wasn't a nice day. Like it was, temperature was fine. It was like 12, 13 degrees. It was a bit drizzly and it was quite windy, especially around the lake. So you get to the lake and it's so exposed. It's kind of like, yeah, oh shit, there it is. I'm kind of pushing against this now. And again, I don't know if it's because like I'm aware of cycling as a sport. I'm just like, who can I try and get to the left of and just try and get any protection? And on the first way around, I don't think it helped much, but I was just constantly trying to, okay, who can I slip behind? Who can I try and follow? Just take some of that wind away. But who knows if it did much or not. But long story short, ended up getting around the lake. It was fine. And I think my halfway split was about 127, which was, yeah, fine. I was on track and feeling pretty good. Um, saw saw Nicole, my partner, her parents, and my little one just coming up Sturt Street as we went past the halfway point, which was really nice. And there's a video that I posted where I'm kind of like I'm pointing at my watch and going like, yeah, look, this is good. I'm hitting pace here. I'm feeling good. Um, and yeah, I kind of just cracked on because as soon as we got past halfway, the half marathon has finished. So it felt a little bit lonely literally as soon as I started that second half. Um, but I was still feeling pretty comfortable at this point. We got past Sturt Street, which is that incline, back to Victoria Park. And that was when there was a couple of other boys running similar paces. A lot of us were kind of like overtaking, then undertaking, and then just like there was a handful, like pockets of boys. And this guy, I think this was about 23, 24K, really tall guy, really nice, comes up to the sides, like running at a similar pace. So, oh, how's your marathon going? And I was able to talk. I was like, yeah, look, this is pretty good. This is my first one. I'm feeling actually quite okay at the moment. Have you got a pace goal? And he's like, no, I'm just kind of not looking at the watch, seeing how I get on. I was like, cool. This guy seems to be running a fair pace. I'm just going to see if I can follow him because I think he looked a little bit more comfortable than I did. So I was like, just try and stay on this guy's tail. Again, my plan was to get to 25 as comfortably as possible, and I did. Um, and then you go up kind of this residential street, and this is when I think the first flickers of fatigue started to kick in. I was a little bit like, okay, I can feel like my effort levels are increasing, still not like
What point?
outright.
Where was this, Luke? Sorry.
I think this was about 25, 26.
Yeah.
Because I should say by this point, like I said, I was having a Molten 100 every 5K. And this was the first time when I was like 25, I think was my last gel. And then I took that one very slowly because I was like, I'm starting to feel a bit sick here. Like my legs feel okay. I just feel a bit nauseous. And I was like, I'll just take it slowly and then reassess come 30K. And a really nice point as well is as I was going past the 25K table, one of my TikTok followers who I've had a couple of back and forwards with recognized me. Well, I knew he was racing, he knew I was racing, and you kind of pass each other. So you come round and you see the guys that are about 10, 15 minutes behind. And all I hear was like someone shouting, action. And I was like, my guy, I could see him as well. I could see him. I just gave him a little point. He didn't get much else because I just was a little bit yeah, nauseous at this point. I was like, you're getting a point and a wave. That's all you're getting. I'm not taking my sunglasses off, and like I'm not, I'm not in that good a position as Adam was. But yeah, no, that was really nice. And even just people, I think you told me this would happen because I had Action Twyford on my bib. People were like saying like, yes, come on Action. And I was wearing like full UVU kit, and someone was like, yeah, UVU. And I was like, yeah, that's what I need, man. I need people kind of giving me some love. But yeah, so 30 Ks in, this was coming up to the lake, and this is where like I started hurting, man. Like there was shades of doubt kicking in, and not doubt. I was like, I'm finishing this race, and I kept just telling myself I was like sub three. I just told myself like the same thing, and little tactic that I employed from the start, and this was my plan. I actually pinned a picture of Nicole and Casper onto my vest. You can see it on some of the pictures because I read, I think it was a Steve Magnus thing. It was like, if you have something that you can, or what cyclists do is on their handlebars, they'll have like a picture of their family or something, and it reminds you why you're doing what you're doing. And so I had a picture of Nicole and Casper on my bib that I every so often I didn't necessarily look at it. I just held it, and I was like, just sub 3 hour, and then held on to that picture. Um, and that gave me
It's class.
who knows how much it gave me, but it gave me something. Because round that lake, that final lap, it was windy. There was not many people there. It felt very exposed and very lonely because there was maybe like a couple of people behind you and a handful in front. Um, and then the point, and as we're getting further and further around the lake, so it's probably about 6K. It takes you to about 39, I think, 39 around the lake from 33 to 39. Um, there was this guy who was in front of me for a long period. He pulls over to the like really abruptly pulls over in front of me and just vomits. There's no transition time. It's just kind of he's running in front of me, run, 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 stop, vomit, and I could smell it. I'm not even
Lovely.
joking. I could smell it. And in my head, I was just like, oh, mate, please don't let that be me in like a few minutes' time. Just like, because I'm feeling pretty sick, same as you were, man. So, um, I was like, just please don't vomit. Like, even just out of embarrassment, I'm like, I don't want that to be me. Fortunately, it didn't. But
Good.
yeah, and then at
Good.
this point as well, I've never suffered with cramp, but I could feel my calves were getting a little bit tight, and I was kind of mindful of it, like same as you were, just to not put your foot down too forcefully. For me, it was coming off of any like speed bumps or running over speed bumps or coming off of a pavement onto the road. I was like trying to avoid that because that impact was not feeling too hot.
Yeah.
Um,
You're on like a knife edge, aren't you? You have to be so
yeah.
careful of those little steps almost
Mhm.
that could just that could destroy your race. It's mad how fragile you are at that point.
Yeah. I don't think it's any coincidence as well that I really started suffering from 36K, and the longest run I'd ever done was 36K. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm digging deep here, but fortunately got around the lake, and then as soon as you do that, there's people again. There's a little bit of a crowd coming down the top of Sturt Street. So it's about 3K from where this is down Sturt Street. And then I'm literally just going off of crowd energy. I'm just trying, I'm so close to the end. Just keep turning the legs. Just keep turning legs. Because at this point, I don't know how accurate the GPS is, but my watch told me I did like a 425, which I don't think I did. I think it was a GPS thing, but that instilled the fear of God. I was like, nah, man, come on. You've got to you can't let this slow down. You got to keep driving. Um, and then I think I saw 41K tick over on the watch, and I was like, man, I'm basically there. And you get that kind of last surge of energy. And I don't mind telling you this because I've told a few people this, but with about 500 meters to go, so what happens is you end up coming down a little decline, you come back up, and it's a really nasty hairpin corner back to the finish. And this is all within about kind of 400 or 500 meters. I knew I was going to get sub 3 hours at this point. Like I could see it, barring some kind of disaster. And I started getting a little bit teary, like I could feel it going up here, and it's like, oh, that's cute. And then I realized that because this was happening, I couldn't breathe. it was really hard to breathe steadily. And I was like, mate, you're a dickhead because you're getting too ahead of yourself too quick, and you're making it hard to breathe. So I kept just trying to stop. It didn't really stop, to be honest with you. I was kind of in next to being in tears for the last 500 meters. I think I was just so physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, and I knew that all this work was going to pay off. And then with about 100 meters to go, I was looking out for them. I saw Nicole and Casper at the side of the road, and I've got a video of them kind of shouting at me. And uh, again, all I could do was kind of look over and point. That's all I had the energy to do. And
Brilliant.
I remember I was like, man, just in case I start crying at the finish line, I'm putting my sunglasses back down. But I did not need them. Um, and yeah, I crossed the line. I think the gun time was like 2:58 something, but I knew obviously chip time I was about a minute behind. And I just remember taking the medal and being like, man, I am fucked. Like, because I was trying to hold in tears. I realized how much my body hurt, and I was like next to hunched over because I was like, I feel sick. I immediately felt very, very cold as well, which actually was like not very pleasant because I was like shivering hard. I was like, I need to find, because I didn't have my phone on me. It actually took me about 10-15 minutes to find my family. And that was a little bit kind of shaky because I'm finding it really hard to move at this point. I'm dehydrated, feeling sick, feeling very, very cold. I got to them eventually, and I was just like, man, we need to go home because I couldn't even enjoy it that much. I remember saying like, look, I did it. I can't believe I've done it. But then I was like, man, I feel terrible, and I genuinely felt horrible for about. It was probably half the car journey home because I finished the marathon, found them. We walked about 10 minutes to the car, which was one of the worst experiences of my life. That was like, you thought I'd be over the moon. I was like, no, I felt awful. Got into the car, got the heating on. I started to like, had some water. I probably had about 2 liters of water in the hour car journey it took back. And I felt a little bit of life come back, and I had like a bath as soon as I got home, and that was an out of body experience, man. That was like,
Did you
uh,
eat in the car on the way home?
no, I had electrolytes. I did have a protein shake, but it was very slow, kind of slow going. Because I was
Yeah.
like, man, I'm going to throw up if I drink too much. Even the electrolytes were hard to get down. The only thing that was going down easily was water. Um, But then, to be honest with you, as soon as I had a bath, I had some more water. I was actually fine. I was kicking around football with little one in the afternoon. I was like, I feel really okay. And yeah, I just kind of got to like actually settle into what I'd just done. And luckily, I think we were talking about this as well. It's so important to just appreciate it. And I'm having everyone come up to me at work, just go, I can't, like, how did it go? And oh my God, this is incredible. You got your time. And it really has, like, I can confidently say I was able to really be present with what I had done. And appreciate not just in the moment, but that I'd put all that hard work in. And the fact of the matter is, Adam, you were the one when I was coming off the back of my half marathon that was like, I think you can do a 3 hour, potentially a sub 3 hour marathon. And
Yeah.
that's it. And
That was a while ago, wasn't it? I remember telling you that.
it's back in September, I think,
Yeah.
September, October. Um, and that was it. And yeah, I can without doubt say that alongside having my little one, and um, I'm trying to think what else really, but a long story short, is one of the best experiences of my life. Not even just getting the time, but just being able to run a marathon and say you've been able to do that was there's nothing like it, nothing else like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Class. Love to hear that. That was brilliant just to hear your recap on it, mate. And I was listening to Inside Running during the week, the Australian
Mm.
podcast, and Brady, he ran a 2 second PB in Ballarat on Sunday, but he was
Did see
mentioning the
him?
wind. Oh, did you?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was mentioning the wind coming off the lake, was pretty tough in parts. So good on you, mate. You got to get yourself to a major now.
yeah. I mean, look, the plan is, I actually haven't told you this, but obviously I've got Melbourne in October. I've actually booked four. races, not marathons, but 4 races in the 4 months prior to that. So I'll race in June, July, August, September, and then Melbourne in October. I'll just do it of varying lengths, just because I'm like, man, I need to do more of this. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe 2026 we'll see what happens. Maybe even 2027 to a major, but I'll see
Melbourne's
how.
a brilliant marathon, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
and I
to
know
Melbourne.
it's
Mm.
grown a lot as well since I did it because I've kind of been following Australian distance running um since being in Australia, and I know Melbourne has grown since then, and even in 2019 it was a brilliant marathon, a brilliant event. I know sometimes the conditions aren't perfect, but if you get a good day in Melbourne, it's a brilliant, it's a place to run fast for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds better than Sydney, to be honest. 'Cause I know Sydney's got its. A lot of people went for Sydney this year, and I think Melbourne will actually be quite quiet because I think Sydney's in. I want to say August, maybe July. I don't know, sometime. But I think a lot of people that would normally do Melbourne are going to be doing Sydney, and Sydney's not a nice marathon. It's like I think it's the most hilly course.
Haven't they changed the course because of its major status now?
They changed it to prevent some of the hairpins because it was like apparently all it was
Yeah, it was very
hairpins.
twisty. Yeah.
But there's still like Sydney. I've never been, but from what I hear, it's a lot of incline, and it is the most elevation out of any of the majors. And I'm like, that's not
Okay.
really something. I mean, to say you've done a major, yeah, but you'd also want to have a good time, like
Yeah,
a good.
I'm just looking at the course actually. It's still really twisty. I'm looking at it here.
Yeah, I
Um,
I I don't know. I feel like they've made Sydney because they know Sydney's a big city, but I don't know.
it's all money,
Melbourne, man,
mate. They
it's all
want
money.
people's
True.
money. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Give it get major status, and you'll get the money because people chasing that 7 star. It's going to be hectic. But yeah, it's a new major. It's going to give people something else to shoot for who like taking off the majors. But yeah, that course looks. It's really difficult to say from like a map, but yeah, it's definitely inner city. Uses Centennial Park. There's quite a bit of out and back on it. Um, but who knows? But yeah, Melbourne's a cracking one, mate. You'll have a blast there. So what's the plan then for the summer? What races are you looking at?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I want to get. The only thing I haven't raced as yet is a 10K. So I'll do. There's 10K actually at Albert Park. I know your old stomping grounds. So I'll do that at the start of June just to get a time on the board. And then I'll do. I'm going to do a half. Run Melbourne half in July. I think that'll be good fun because I want to try and get another half on the board. And I'll do a 5K in August and then another half in September. So that gets me some nice race experience and hopefully some more PBs on the board going into Melbourne. And then, man, 6 months. I'm yet to set a target for Melbourne. I haven't really thought about it too much. I'm just enjoying the 257 for now. But I think just to be to PB again would be lovely.
Yeah, set the target the day before. I think
Yeah.
that's trust the process, do the training, and you'll know kind of what shape you're coming into. You'll know your body, and you're a smart guy. So set the target the day before, man. That's cool, mate. That's cool. You've got some plans in place. I'm quite the opposite. I'm really poor at long term planning, and I really need to get better at it because I want to run high quality fast marathons. And in order to do that, you have to plan and be entered quite early. So I would absolutely love to go to Valencia and run Valencia in December, but it's completely sold out. So if anyone is listening and hears of any places going for Valencia or wants to sell me their bib, I will happily bet. Um, Dublin Marathon is in my mind. Good for Age opened yesterday, so I put an entry in. It's the 26th of October, I think, from
Hmm.
memory.
Yep.
So
Sounds about right.
that's a home race. It was my first marathon. Good course. Lots of people like to run PBs there. Um, and that's kind of in my mind's eye.
Would
Over
you
the
do?
summer,
So
go
would
on.
you do Copenhagen again, the half?
Nah, I don't think so. I think it's probably sold out as well. Again with those big European halves, you have to be in them. You have to pretty much enter when they open because they're pretty hectic. So listen, I'm going to sit down actually and plan out next year soon, so I can kind of get entered into the races that I want to do early. Um, I think I would love to go back to London. You know, my time should hopefully get me a championship spot again. I know they've changed it a little bit this year to a first come first serve basis, or sorry, fastest time basis. So I
Mm.
think the standard is 2:38, but for championship. But if there's like too many applicants, basically you're taken on a time
Mhm.
basis.
Yep. Hey
But yeah,
man,
I'd
well
like to.
look, if you don't get into London, Ballarat's got your name written all over it. We can make something happen, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be good.
yeah, man.
I've heard some
Happy
brilliant
look.
things about Ballarat. It seems to be coming. It seems to have become a really stellar race. It's filling a real gap in the Australian marathon calendar where there wasn't much happening. Um,
They want it to be so. I think I was listening to that same Inside Running podcast, and they were saying that the goal is to for it to be essentially a Valencia, that kind of level. I know that's big shoes to fill, but they want it to be one of the best, like a world recognized marathon course because I think on its day, Ballarat can be really good. It can be quick aside from weather. Yeah.
yeah, cool. Um, yeah, Valencia's. I think Valencia, if you're from Europe, Ireland, UK, it's the place to run fast from like a course, a weather, and also like a logistical point of view. Do you know when you go to these majors like London? I know Valencia is growing and it is a big marathon, but it doesn't have just the same logistical problems that a London has or a New York has. Or those big city marathons, the really the majors I'm talking about, because you are standing around for quite a while. There is the track to the start line. It's such a huge event, so it can sometimes not necessarily be conducive to running fast. Plus, London on the 27th of April, it's never going to be optimal temperatures. Like, you're very rarely going to get that like 5, 6, 7 degrees. It's always going to
Mm.
be a little bit warmer. Well, I think somewhere between 5 and 13 degrees is optimal, but I would love to race a marathon in 5, 6 degrees with no wind. I think sunshine, 5, 6 degrees, no wind would just be
Perfect.
the
Yep.
dream.
Yep.
I've trained on that kind of weather a couple of times, and it's just when you get warm, it's class. Um, but yeah, I need to plan out what's next. I'm just happily recovering now, and again, I'll just slowly get back into training, build the base, and lay the foundations, and just start to gradually increase mileage and add in a few little bits and pieces. And just my priority, I actually jotted a few notes on my whiteboard yesterday about kind of where I want things to go next from a training perspective. And I've just wrote like enjoyment over everything, simplicity, just keep it simple, and just feel it out and trust yourself. Just feel out the process as opposed to thinking I need to be doing this, and this. Where I find enjoyment is just feeling out the kind of day to day and the week to week, and also trust yourself because I know how to get the most out of myself, and the enjoyment is also going to underpin that, and that's
Mhm.
my plan, and be process orientated. And races, I'll just plan the races over the next couple of weeks and get them in the diary. But the overarching theme is kind of what I've just mentioned. So that's kind of where my thoughts go.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and I'd agree. I think the first thing that I'm thinking, and the reason why, honestly, the only reason why I even went on a run because I had permission to take the entire 7 days off. The only reason I did like a little, like 30 minutes, like super slow, is just because, man, I just want to do something I love doing.
Yeah,
And I again, I'm a personal trainer. I've been training for a long time. I trust my body, and I was like, look, I to me at least, I think like doing a 30 minutes at 5:50 to 6 minute K pace is not going to do me any damage. I'm just going to get out and move my body. And I did, and I completely agree. I think it's a case of my training doesn't change. I know I'm working with a coach, but my training is still just be a better runner. And between being a better runner, just throw some races in there, enjoy it. It's not about anything else other than enjoying it. And yeah, more good times basically.
100%, 100%, good stuff. And
All
we're
right.
on that little low now post marathon that like I mentioned I think weeks ago on the podcast. you have to accept that when you build for something for so long and you're kind of riding a wave in training, and then you have the big event, there's going to be a low, and you just accept that that's all just part of it, and almost just enjoy it and embrace it for what it is. Just that's life, and just take this moment for what it is and enjoy this week, and then the next week and the following week, that can all come in time.
Yeah, 100%.
One
Stay
day
in the
at a time.
moment, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
All right,
100%.
Adam, this has actually turned out to be one of our longest podcasts. So I think now
Has.
would probably be a good time to wrap up. But before we do, I
Excellent.
know we obviously no training on the weekend, but anything nice planned?
Yeah, so Belfast Marathon's on Sunday. So my local, 20 minutes up the road, and I know loads of runners. I'm coaching oh, maybe 12 runners for Belfast. So this week's been really busy with helping those guys out and prepping them for their race and different bits and pieces. So it's been a busy work week, and I'm looking forward to actually going up. And despite the beers in the evenings, it's been a busy work week, and I'm looking forward to going up to Belfast on Sunday to watch and spectate. It's a long weekend as well, so everybody's off Monday, so there's always a good buzz around Belfast. The pubs are always full. It's my sister's birthday, so we're going to do something for that. That might coincide with Belfast on Sunday. So you might see a picture of another pint of Guinness on Sunday, mate. We'll have to see. Um,
I've seen a lot of Guinness, Adam, recently from your from your socials. I love it. I'm here for it.
yeah,
You
so
earned it. You deserve it.
that could be Sunday, and then no, mate, just relax, continue to enjoy the break, get out for a couple of walks, and back to training next week. I'm really looking forward to just getting back out and logging some miles. I would have loved to have been out this week because the sun's been shining. I'd love to be out around Craigavon Lake lapping it, but yeah, just patience and recover, rest up, and get back to it. What about you?
Yes, it sounds really nice for the record. But yeah, no, this is actually a really quiet weekend. So we've got first weekend in probably I'd say months at this point. We've had absolutely nothing planned. So I think the plan will be for me to spend a little bit more time with my partner and my little one. Um, yeah, it's probably the main upside of not running so much is I actually get to spend time with my partner. She's all right. She's got hobbies. She's got yeah, she's really nice. I don't really speak to her very much anymore. So no, I'm joking, Nico. I love you. But yeah, no, we'll hang out a bit. Like again, if I go out, it'll be for a jog on Sunday for half an hour again. But aside from that, probably going out for some walks. The weather's kind of gone cold here, then it's got really nice again. So we're back to those kind of 19, 20 degrees sunny
Oh,
days.
nice,
It's really nice. So just
lovely.
enjoy that, and then yeah, back into work and running, proper scheduled running next week. So
Life
can't
goes on.
complain, man. Life does indeed go on. But
Good stuff.
look, guys, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up. So again, as always, we'll just say thank you so much to everyone for showing love to the podcast. If you can spare just another couple of moments to share it with your friends, it goes a really long way in helping us to promote what we do and help other people kind of get enjoyment out of us talking rubbish or emotional nonsense for an hour a week. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone. And if you're racing in Belfast this weekend, good luck. Would have been last weekend. Sorry, I'm tired. But yeah,
That's
hopefully
right. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
hope everyone had a good race in Belfast, and good luck to anyone who's training for anything this week. Looking forward to see everyone's results, and yeah, looking forward to chatting with you guys again soon. Take care.